Greetings and welcome to the first video in the Alto Saxophone series. We're using essential elements. For this video we're going to be looking at pages 2 and 3 in your book, and this is just kind of starting. Nothing takes the place of doing this with a competent teacher. You're a music teacher at school. If you're watching this, you're probably my student. We've done this in our lessons, and now you're reviewing so that you can do a good job, because we went through a lot of things. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is you're going to take that saxophone case and you're going to lay it flat on the floor. Always want to lay your instrument case on the floor because it protects the instrument, protects you. We don't want to open it on our laps because you're probably a tinier player and it can get awkward and you can drop it on the floor. So just leave it on the floor. That's what we all do. Most likely you have your name tag, or if there's an instrument manufacturer label on the case, that's going to be facing up. Okay, undo the latches, open up your case. Now inside you find the shiny instrument, mouthpiece, all that wonderful stuff. We're going to leave that alone for now. What I want you to do is find one of these. This is called a reed. Okay? You may have some in a little bag, maybe loose in your case, or you may have a box. Might be orange, most likely, or blue. Might say Rico on it, but you're going to need one of these. Okay? This is what you need to make the sound. Without these, your instrument ain't going to work. Okay? Your instrument, a saxophone, is a woodwind. It requires the whistle vibrating sound using a reed, in this case. Okay? Alright, so look at that reed for a second. Don't do anything with it, just look at it. Notice there's a little tab right here. Alright, notice that there's a groove right here. Notice that there's a flat part, probably with a barcode. Okay, it's going to be very important later that your reed goes in the case correctly, because if it isn't in the case correctly, it's going to get damaged, and then you have to buy a new one. You will go through more than one reed this year. You'll probably go through a whole box of them. That's okay, but we still want to take as many precautions to make that reed last as long as possible. As a music teacher, this particular reed has lasted me about 6 months. Woo! Me! Ha-ha! But I'll probably be getting a new one soon, okay? And I do chip them too from time to time, okay? But I've learned over almost 30 years of playing to be very careful with my reeds. Okay, so you're going to pull the reed out of the case. As I'm pulling it out, notice that the groove side has a groove side or a curved side on your reed. When I'm pulling it out, the barcode has that Rico. It's flat, okay? So I pull it out of the reed case. Set the reed case aside. You'll need that later. Alright, notice that your reed has a thin tip and it's got a thick bottom. Okay, you always want to hold the reed by the bottom. You don't want to be handling it at the top or the tip because you can break it. If it gets chipped or cracked, it probably won't work. You have to throw it out and get a new one. Okay, you're going to take this reed and very carefully going to put it in your mouth. Again, be very careful not to hurt the tip of the reed. No biting. No with your tongue. Wood. Delicious. I like it. Oh, well, look at how much I have in my mouth. You keep yours in your mouth. I already wet mine so that I could talk during the video. You only want to have as much out of your mouth as you need to pull it out of your mouth. The more reed you can get wet, the better it's going to work for you. Okay? Some people swallow a whole hole in their mouth, but then it's really slobbery to get it out. So I like to use just a tiny little tab to pull out. A lot of kids, when they're starting off, they go like this. And you see how much reed is left unwetted, so it's not going to respond as well. If you think of a twig in a rainstorm, it's bendable, right? Because it's wet. If that same twig, during a drought, when it's dry, that twig is going to snap. Same thing with the reed. It has to be wet to vibrate. If it's not wet enough, it's going to be very hard to play. If it's not wet at all, it's just going to squeak and cause everyone around you to scream. Okay? So, you're going to want to soak it for a good full 45 seconds to a minute at least in your mouth. So keep it in there for a while. Get used to it. A new reed tastes a little witty, okay? It gets better as, you use the same reed, a few times, okay? All right, so you're sucking on your reed right now. And while you're doing that, I want you to get this piece out of your case, okay? This is called the neck, okay? Get that piece out. Also, I want you to find this piece. This is called the mouthpiece, all right? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set the neck just on your lap for now. You're going to take the cap, this thing right here, off of the mouthpiece, set it aside. And then you have this little metal strap here. It may be loose. If so, great. If it's not, undo the screws counterclockwise. You pull them towards you. Just like 2 or 3 turns is all you need. Pull that off. Okay, notice that this is called the ligature, this metal strap, and the mouthpiece, they both have a fat bottom and a skinnier top. So they go one on top of the other. Okay? If your ligature is upside down, it looks like one of those dog collars, so they don't itch themselves. Okay? So if your ligature goes on weird, you probably got it upside down. Okay? All right, so we're going to take that and just set it on your lap for a second. Now you're going to take the neck, and then if this is too hard for you, we'll go over what to do. You're going to take the mouthpiece and you're going to twist it on the cork. You know, most of the way, as much as you can, really. You don't want to do it so there's no cork. You also don't want to do it so it's like this, or it's going to sound really icky. So you want to have it on most of the way on that cork. It may get a little hard, and if so, you can use cork grease. It looks like chapstick would be in your case. In fact, I think I have some right here in my clarinet case. So let me take a look and see if I still have that in here. Yep, I was using that for my clarinet video yesterday. Okay, so if your mouthpiece is really hard to get on, you can use this Rico or whatever brand, maybe Van Doren, cork grease. This is not chapstick. It looks like chapstick, but it is not chapstick. Do not put this on your lips. You're going to take some and just put a couple of little light dabs on there. Okay, you can't really even see it. Okay, if you're putting on like gobs and gobs of it, it's not going to work. It's going to get stickier and it's going to make a big mess. So just a few dabs here and there, and you can always put more on, but it's hard to get it off. I've had kids use half a tube of cork grease and their whole instrument, their whole saxophone or clarinet is all of a sudden really, really, really sticky. Okay, so just be careful. It's really the only thing you need that cork grease for on your instrument is this part right here. So here's my mouthpiece, putting it on there. Beautiful. All right, notice that the holes line up. Okay, hole on the bottom, hole right here. Okay, if it's like this, then you're upside down. Okay, also will look like this. All right, get that reed. You're going to take it out of your mouth. And you're going to set it on top of the mouthpiece. It does not go in the hole. Don't put it in the hole. It goes on top of the mouthpiece like this. Notice that the curvy part is up. Notice that the flat part that says Rico is going to be down. All right, hold that in place with my thumb. Looks kind of like this. You'll line it up. Then you get your ligature, that metal strap. And remember, if it goes on weird, then it's probably upside down. And you're going to carefully, so you don't chip the reed, slip it over the reed and the mouthpiece. Lining it up with your thumbs. And then we're going to tighten the screws so that the reed stays in place. It's going to look like this. Okay? Notice you can see almost very, very, very little black at the tip, but no reed on the other side. Notice that the ligature is low. Okay? It's underneath the cut. We call this the cut of the reed. It's underneath there, and there's, you know, at least equal here and here, or there could be more shiny stuff right there. Notice that the ligature is below this curve right here. Okay, a lot of kids what they do when they're starting off, and again, you don't know, so, you know, we're just telling you the best ways to do things. All right, the ligature will look something like this, and there'll be space there. It'll be too high, and the reed will be too high, and you can see it, or it'll be too low, or it'll be crooked. So your job, especially if you're just starting out, is to practice getting that perfect placement of the reed. If you don't have the perfect placement of the reed, it ain't gonna sound good. Okay, that's one of those foundation things that if it's not perfect, it's not gonna work. Okay, that's why we spend so much time on this. Okay, again, looks like that. Beautiful. All right, now we're gonna practice making our first sound. We're gonna call this an embouchure. An embouchure is the way your face needs to be to make a sound on an instrument. All right, so we're going to make your lower lip go over your bottom teeth in a thin cushion. So I like to go, All right, notice it's over my bottom teeth. I'm not going, I don't have all of that here. If you have all that back there, it's not going to work. It's not going to let the reed vibrate. So just a thin cushion, like that. The reed goes on top of that. Okay. Again, you don't want to go, oh, oh, ho, ho. You don't want to have too much mouthpiece in your mouth. So really the tip. And your top teeth are going to go right on top of the mouthpiece. Your lips are going to go around it. You're going to firm up the corners, kind of paste them or nail them. Not really nail them, but to put them on your teeth. And now you see how firm that is? Can you talk like this? Where you put the corners of your mouth nice and firm there? All right, and your pointy, flat chin. And then you're lightly biting down, and then you blow. So that's the sound, that's the sound you want to get on your saxophone mouthpiece, okay? You really can't practice that too much, that first week or two playing. Really, what I have my students do is the first week or two of playing their saxophone is all about getting this perfect and a good sound and your face looking great. Because once we add the rest of that saxophone, it's going to be a lot harder to get this working if you're trying to figure out how to hold the stinking thing and then you've got your fingers and all this. Okay, so one simple thing at a time is really the best way to learn any instrument. Even though I know you just want to get that big instrument in your hand and go, yeah! Okay, so once again, flat, top teeth, lips around, blow. You can have a little fun sticking your finger inside the bottom. You can also wake people up in the middle of the night. Probably wouldn't do that. All right, so that's the big thing. So now let's talk about posture and some of the other nuts and bolts of playing a saxophone. You notice when I was playing, I was breathing, I was thinking what's called a diving breath. So a diving breath is when you breathe in deeply. Think about if you're at the ocean or in a pool and you're about to dive, okay? You take a big breath, you go, so that you have a lot of air and you don't drown. If you go like this, you won't be underwater very long, right? Okay, another way to think of it is a yawning breath. When you yawn, you fill up all the way down. That yawning breath. A yawn is your body's way of saying, I need air, and I need it now. You can't really stop a yawn. You can go, but you're still going to be getting air in. Because your body is saying, I need it, and I need it now. So it's going to force you to take the biggest breath most efficiently that you can. Thus the big. And same thing with an instrument. You really want to fill up on that air. Now we're going to talk about posture. You want to sit feet flat, fanny forward on your chair. No slouches. Okay? Slouching is not going to help you get those big breaths. It's not going to be balanced. Whenever you play, you want to be sitting up nice and tall, feet flat on the floor, fanny forward. And that should help you to get that fantastic tone. Okay. Good. Now what we're going to do is you can fast forward to the end of the video for taking this apart. But for the first introductory video, I'm going to go a little bit further. This would be like lesson 2 or 3 if I were teaching you in school. We're going to get your saxophone out of your case now. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Put your saxophone back. Set this aside for just a second and find your strap, your neck strap. Woo, almost forgot the neck strap. I'll spend half a lesson on a neck strap. All right, so you're going to put this neck strap around you. Your neck strap is going to be different. Sometimes you'll have a hook. Sometimes you'll have a clip with a little pull thing. I like the clips. I really like, I think it's the Neotech and the ProTech. They have the ones with the swivel hook on there that you can pull off. These ones I don't care as much for because the saxophone can fall off a little easier. I really like the ones where they have the spring-loaded clip in there and the padded strap. So they're about, $15 to $20 for a padded strap with a clip. If you don't have one, I would ask your parents to pick one up for you. It really makes a difference. Okay? But for now, we're going to use what we have. So here's my strap. What we're going to do is we want to be able to move it up and move it down. And up and down. Okay, every strap's a little bit different. You probably have one with a buckle, a little buckle there. And what you may be able to do is hold it by the clip and move it up and move it down. If not, you probably have 2 loops of strap there. So you hold the buckle and then from behind you pull. You pull the 2 straps and then you can move it up and move it down. Spend some time every day while you're watching TV or whatever you're doing, just moving your strap up and down. It's going to be harder when you have a big saxophone hanging off the end of it, okay? So work on getting that strap up and that strap down. Okay, now that we've got the strap, now you're going to get your saxophone. And then at the top of your saxophone, you have this little screw. You're going to loosen it a few turns, not all the way. You really don't need to take the screw out all the way. It's called the set screw. Okay, and you're going to take your neck and mouthpiece combination. You're going to put it on top. You might have to wiggle it. If it's too hard, you may need to loosen this a little bit. Once you've got it there, you're going to line it up. This little, there's this little thing that goes up and down there. It's, I'm going to see if it's pointing up when this isn't there. Okay, you're going to line that up with the middle of the hoop. Okay, so the post goes behind the hoop. If it's in front of the hoop, it's not going to work. Then what you're going to do is this screw, you're going to tighten. A lot of kids forget to tighten this, and then it moves all over the place, and they wonder why it's not working. Okay, so tighten that screw. And tighten mine. Okay, beautiful. Now, you're going to take your saxophone strap, and at the back, there's a gold hoop, okay? You're going to hook it, okay? A lot of the weight of the saxophone is going to be around your neck, which is why, you know, a padded strap is always fantastic. All right, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to let the you're going to sit on the side of your chair, so this would be the right side of your chair, and then you're going to let the saxophone fall off of you, off to the side. You're going to let your right thumb, this thumb, go underneath the hook. Not on top of the hook. We're underneath the hook. Okay? Your left hand, right now, you're going to adjust the strap. And then, if you leave your mouthpiece straight, you're going to go like this, which is not very comfortable. It's not good posture. So we're going to move, and I'll show you how I'm going to do this. We're going to move, we're going to turn the mouthpiece so it's offset. See how offset that is? We're moving it just enough so that you can keep your head straight, okay? Like this, okay? We want to keep it nice and straight. All right, and then you want to be able to, you know, kind of push forward with this thumb to bring your saxophone to your mouth. If you find that you're going like this, or like this, then you need to adjust your strap. You should figure out how you want to sit comfortably, and then be able to bring the saxophone to you. Okay, if my strap is too short, if I've got the buckle up all the way, I can't play with my nose. I would like to play with my nose, but that would be gross. If your saxophone is too low, then you're going to play with your chin or your neck. Okay, so work on spending some time getting it comfortable. Okay, you need to bring the saxophone to you. To you. Sometimes the saxophone is way back here and people are going like this. Again, let this hand move the saxophone forward and bring it up. The saxophone should be almost, you know, just angled this way a little bit. Almost straight though. Okay? Beautiful. Alrighty. So now let's make our first sound. So again, your right hand thumb is underneath the hook. Your left thumb is just going to stand on here. We're not going to press anything down. Just blow. Alrighty. So that's our first sound. The next video is going to talk about using some of those first sounds. But let's talk about getting the saxophone back in your case. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to unhook your saxophone from your strap. Then you're going to loosen that top set screw. About 3 turns is all you need. Don't pull the screw out, please. A lot of kids lose their screws. Please don't pull it out of the way. Just 3 or 4 turns, maybe even 2, enough to loosen it. Okay. Then you twist and pull your neck off. You can put your saxophone right back in the case. In my case, on top of a garbage can, apparently. And then you're going to take this you're going to loosen your ligature screws only 2, maybe 3 turns. 1, 2, 1, 2. Just to loosen it. Again, you don't need to do the screws a whole bunch of times, otherwise you're just going to have to screw them back in a lot more times when you're putting it together next time, okay? The idea is to be efficient. And you pull the ligature off and set that aside. Take your reed off of your mouthpiece, okay? Set this aside for a second. Find your reed case. This thing. Remember this from the beginning of the video? Okay, remember we talked about it being important which way is which. In this case, if you don't do this correctly, you can break your reed. No! So let's do this together. Okay, there is a place right here. That's where the reed goes in. Okay, notice there's a barcode on one side of your case. There's a groove on the other. Notice on your reed there is a flat part that says Rico probably, and then there is a curvy part right here. Okay, the flat on flat. Full finger tap is the mantra. Okay, so the flat part is the barcode and the Rico. So tip first, we do the flat on flat, and then full finger tap. All right, when you do that, the full finger tap, you leave the tab here so you can get the reed out again. If you go like this and you just push it in, push it in, push it in, the reed is going to pop out the end here and the tip's going to break off. So full finger tap allows you to get your reed out again, and it's fully protected. Again, notice groove on the curve, flat barcode on flat Rico. Okay, this is the way to do it. Set that aside. Get your mouthpiece and neck. You're going to take the mouthpiece off of the neck. Okay, take the neck, put it back in your case. You might even have a special compartment in there for it. Next, you're going to take the ligature. Remember, it can't go on upside down. It's going to go back on the way it did before. Don't tighten it. You don't need to tighten the screws, because if you leave it loose, then when you put your reed on, it just goes zoop, and you're done. 2 turns. 2 turns on, 2 turns off. That's all you need. Then you're going to find that mouthpiece cap. It doesn't matter at this point where the screws are on the mouthpiece, but you're going to take the mouthpiece cap and you're going to slip it over the mouthpiece, and that groove goes around the screws. Ta-da! This will protect your mouthpiece from chips. If your mouthpiece gets chipped, cracked, broken, you need to buy a new one, unfortunately. They can get expensive, okay? So make sure you have a nice cap on there. Then you're going to put that back in your case. And then there you have it. That is oh, I've got your neck strap. The amount of times I've had kids go to their classes and they've got a saxophone neck strap necklace going on. Put that back in your case too. Alright, and that ends our first introductory video. The next video is going to focus on 1 through 13 using your Essential Elements book. I would encourage you to read pages 2 and 3 in your Essential Elements book. And yeah, we'll see you next time.